Jai Hind everyone. I am Dr. Ashish Dixit, Associate Professor, CSE Department in Akgec Engineering College. So, today we will discuss about the Java server pages, because everyone know about the server and which types of pages server will be used. So, here Sun Microsystem is developed a Java and JSP. But right now, Sun Microsystem is purchased by Oracle. Okay. So, right now this is the product of Oracle. Okay. So, according to Java server pages, a JSP term as a Java server pages is a technology that will be introduced by the Sun Microsystem, but currently it is a product of Oracle. Okay. So, it is a web application more efficient way than the servlet, and it has many advanced features than the servlet. One of them, to separate the presentation logic from the business logic and provide the designer and developer of the web application, okay, to the work independently. So, JSP consists of the following types of component. First is a directive, second is a declaration, third is a scriptlet, fourth expression, fifth standard action, and custom tags. Okay. So, here I will discuss about the directive pages. We have in a directive pages, we have a aim to define a certain attributes of a JSP pages. Examples may language of the page in which page should be written, which class to be imported so that it can be used within the JSP pages. Okay. So, here this is the syntax of the directives. First is the pages syntax, then %@ page language is Java, extend, here we will write the class name, and import class or package here, then syntax will be closed. Okay. Here these are the following types of attributes: language, import class, buffer size in a double colon, then scope may be request, pages, session, and application. Okay. So, here we will again discuss about the include. What is the include? This directive is to includes the HTML, JSP or a servlet file into JSP file. This is the static inclusion of the file. It will be included into the JSP file at the time of compilation. Okay. So, here we will use the syntax %@ include file and file name with a double column. What is the attributes? Attributes is a file name will be exist within a double colon. Okay. Next, again, what is the declaration? And suppose that we want to declare some variables of the program, then here we will use a %, exclamatory, declare the all variables here and closed. The similar way we will use the scriptlets, percentile, all your scriptlets will come here. Okay. Expression, a syntax, percentile is equals to expression evaluation and display the variable. Okay. These are three components of the JSP: declaration, scripts and syntax. Next, we use the standard action. Which types of action will be performed on a web pages? So here we will discuss about the web pages. So standard action include JSP include page and file name. This inclusion of the file is a dynamic and the specified file is included in the JSP file. At run, output of the included file is inserted into the JSP files. Then again we use the action forward action. So here we will use the syntax JSP forwarded pages and write the file name within a double colon. Then here this will redirect to the different page without the notifying browser. Okay, it will be redirect to the different pages. Next, we will use a next component, custom tags. Custom tags like a prefix name of the tag of the library names. So here for our library names we will use our custom tags. Here we will use a syntax percentile at the rate tag library URI. Then tag library URI exists in a double quotes and use the prefix tag prefix. Okay. Next thing, here we will discuss about the one small program. Here we will use the HTML starting, then HTML close, body, then within a body we will write the hello, the time is now, and use a method percentile at the rate new java util dot date. Okay, this is a small program and close the body, then close the HTML. Same things, here we will use a HTML, then body, then output println evaluating date now. Okay, so what is the date, and we will evaluate the date and showing the output. Java.util.date date equals to new java util.date method will be used. Here hello, the time is now, then here we will mention percentile is equals to date, because the date all things will be considered in this instance of the object. Okay, then close the body and HTML. Suppose we want to use the table border. Next program we will use the table border. Okay, then which way we will use the table border? Then here table border is equals to 2, it's a size, percentile int I, it's a initialization, it's a condition, and it's an increment or a decrement. Then use the tr table, then tr open and tr close. Here td number, then td, here we will use a I plus 1, td, then percentile and close, then use the table. In this way we will create a table and the border of the table. Okay. Next, JSP directives examples. Suppose we will take a one examples. First of all, at the rate page import java.util.asterisk will be consider a whole things that will be used in a package. Okay. Second thing, we will use the starting HTML, open HTML and body open. Here percentile output dot println evaluating date. Now we will use the date, and here date is the class and it's a create a object date, new object. Then new date will be transfer in this object date and we will print out the date. Then hello, the time is now, percentile is equals to date. Then close the body and close the HTML tag. In this way, we will get the output of the particular date, evaluating date. Okay. So JSP directives, if we use the JSP directives, then to import more than one item, separate the package names by the commas. Suppose that we want to use multiple types of package in our program, then which way? First of all, we will import all packaging in our program. Which way we will use the all packaging in our program? Then here we will use the syntax percentile @ page import java.util asterisk, then java.text asterisk. Okay, here we will use the two types of package, package 1, package 2. Next thing, we will use the JSP directives. The include the directive is used to include the contents of the another file. In a JSP directives, in a include directives, we will use the contents of the another file in our program. Okay. So here HTML open, then body open, then going to include hello.jsp and break, then @ include file hello.jsp, then close the body, then close the HTML. Used to add variable and method declaration. Which way we will use the? It's a next program. Import, first of all we will use the import package java.util asterisk, then HTML, then body, then percentile not date the time, date the date equals to new date, date get data, here we will put the time or put the date, out.println dot get date method, then return the date, then hello the time is now, then get the date and body and HTML. Okay. Here we will use the get the date of the date and get the date, then after use the method of the get. Next, JSP declaration. A declaration is loaded only once when the page is loaded. In the previous examples, time is not updated when page is refreshed. Okay. When we want to refresh our page, then time will be not updated. That is why we will use the next things. So there are 9 implicit objects available, they are given below. First is a request, second is a response, third is the output, next is a session, configuration, application, pages, page context and exceptions. Okay, here we will discuss about the 9 implicit object of the availability in our program. First of all, request and response implicit object. The request implicit object is an instance of the HTTP servlet request interface, and response is an instance of the HTTP servlet response. Next, they are available in a similar way to the request and response object passed to the service method in the servlet. Then the request object denote the data include with the hypertext transfer protocol request. Then the client first makes a request, then it passed to the server, then the request of object is to take the value from the client and web browsers and pass it to the server. This is performing using a HTTP request like headers, cookies and the argument. So again we will use the response object to send the response of a server to the client, then response data denotes the HTTP response data. So always kept in mind, here we will use two types of method in a servlet: HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. If user want to fetch the information to the server, then user send to the message through the web browser to the server and send to the request. Okay, then request will be passed through the web browser to the server. Then next step, server get the request of the user and prepare the response and send the response to the user with the use of web browser. Okay, here this types of technique apply. So here output implicit objects, we will use the output implicit object has a type of JSP.JSP writer class and use the output.print hello world. Okay. Then the parameters of the out are sent to the output stream, which generally means they end up visible in the browser requesting the JSP pages. Second thing, what is a session? A session implicit object is an instance of javas.servlet.https session interface. Then HTTP used a stateless protocol to keep track of data among the pages and session is used. So again, call get session method to access an existing session or start a new one, then we will use a session object or for getting and setting of the attributes. So here we will use a session dot set attributes, username Amit Kumar, then user get attribute to access the session data. Then here we will use the session data session dot get attributes. What is the username? This username is Amit Kumar. Then configuration. Here we will use the configuration of a HTTP servlet configuration. So we will use the config keywords. Config implicit object is an instance of javas.servlet config interface and represent the parameters set up within the deployment descriptors. So here we will use to set up the configuration of the servlet is configured within the web.xml parameters. Then initiate of the parameters, then parameter name, count and close the parameter. Then parameter value 200, then close the parameter value. Then init, close the parameters. Okay. So the config object can be used to retrieve the parameter using its get init parameter string parameter method. This is used to get the information regarding the servlet configuration stored in the config object. Then here we use the application. Application implicit object is an instance of the javas.servlet context interface. It refers to the overall web application environment that the JSP belongs to. Then this is used to share the data will be application. Then page implicit object. The page implicit object of the type of object, it is assigned a reference to the servlet that executing the JSP services method. The page object denotes the JSP pages and used for calling any instance of the page servlet. The page context implicit object. The page context object has a type of java.servlet.jsp page context class. This is utilized to access the other implicit object. This is used to access the page attributes and also to access all the namespaces associated with the JSP pages. Then the exception implicit object. What is the exception? If any error will be created during the running of the program, then we will call the exception. Okay. Then exception implicit object of a type of java.lang throwable class. This object is only available to page that is a error page. Set to true with the directives. Then @page is error page, then true. Then the exception of the object refers to the exception triggered by the page that uses this page as an exception handler. These are the program, and if you face any confusion related to this topic, then comment in a comment box. Thank you. Jai Hind.